Welcome to Mystery Vault Studio, where chilling tales, ancient secrets, and unsolved mysteries come alive. If you crave stories that tingle your spine and linger in your dreams, hit subscribe, ring the bell icon, and stay with us till the end. Today's story is one that may never leave you. In the fall of 2023, a young couple from Chicago, Ethan and Maya Williams, embarked on a honeymoon that was anything but ordinary. They weren't drawn to sandy beaches or bustling cities. No, they were adventurers at heart, seekers of forgotten legends and places history had tried to erase. Their path took them to India, to Rajasthan, a land where stories of valor and horror echoed through palaces, forts, and desert sands. One chilly evening, as they sipped chai near the ancient town of Bundi, their driver Prakash mentioned a place called Devlokh, not on any modern map, not part of any tourist guide, and yet unforgettable to those who had heard of it. It was a village, Prakash said in a low voice, the cursed. They say everyone vanished overnight in 1811. Vanished? Maya raised her eyebrows. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just gone. He should looked away, as if afraid his words might summon something. He tried to laugh it off, but the tension in his shoulders said otherwise. Naturally, Ethan was intrigued. "We have to go there," he said, eyes gleaming with curiosity. Maya, half joking, replied, "Every horror movie starts with someone saying that." But Ethan had made up his mind. The next day, after several refusals, they found someone who agreed to take them. A local named Ravi, who had once explored Devlokh with a group of archaeology students. Most had left after only an hour. One member spoke of it again. On the evening of October 4th, they packed their essentials: flashlights, bottled water, satellite phones, extra batteries, and a drone camera. Ravi picked them up in an old 4x4, and they began the drive through dry fields and thorny thickets. It was an uncomfortable journey. The roads got narrower, the vegetation thicker. Eventually, the car stopped at a clearing where a massive stone archway stood, cracked and covered in vines. On its top, fate carvings read in Sanskrit, "Those who seek may not return the same." As they passed through the arch, silence engulfed them. No birds, no crickets, not even the wind, only the sound of their own footsteps. The village beyond was still, as if trapped in a forgotten moment in time. Homes of weathered sandstone stood hollow, with doors swaying on broken hinges. A dry fountain sat at the center. At the far end was a temple, half buried, its entrance dark and cracked. Ravi stopped. "I won't go beyond this point," he said firmly. "I'll wait here with the car." Ethan and Maya walked ahead, camera in hand, the crunch of sand and gravel underfoot the only sound. It felt like they were being watched, not by people, but by the place itself. Then Maya noticed something odd. A symbol on one of the walls. An eye with a snake curled through its pupil. Below it scratched in ancient Hindi. "Once you see, it sees you too." Ethan laughed nervously. Creepy. Probably just an old superstitious warning. But Maya didn't laugh. Her eyes remained locked on the symbol. Drawn by curiosity, they moved toward the temple. The flashlight began to flicker. They climbed the temple's worn steps cautiously. The doors creaked open, revealing an interior colder than the desert night. Inside were carvings, hundreds of them, of villagers kneeling before a central figure. But this figure had no face. Where eyes and a mouth should have been, there was only smooth stone. Above the figure, a fresh garland of marigolds hung, fresh, in a place untouched for over 200 years. Ethan reached out and touched it. The moment his fingers brushed the flowers, the air changed. The humming began, a low, melodic hum, like a lullaby being sung by something not human. Then a whisper, Maya. She froze. Did you hear that? Ethan nodded. Someone said your name. They spun around, but no one was there. The flashlight died, panic set in. They ran. When they reached the archway, Ravi and the car were gone. Only tire marks remained. And even those looked old, as if days had passed. Phones were dead, satellite connection lost. Only their backup flashlight worked weakly. Trying to stay calm, they decided to find shelter, but the village was changing. Paths they had walked earlier had vanished. New streets had appeared. The temple, once behind them, was suddenly to their left again. It was as if the village was breathing, shifting, twisting like a maze. It did not want them to leave. They saw lights in windows that were dark before. In one house, a shadow passed by a curtain, but when they approached, the house was empty, dusty, dead silent. Finally, they collapsed beside a dry well. Too tired to think, too scared to speak, they clung to each other waiting for dawn. Maya opened her eyes, birds were chirping, sunlight warmed her skin. But something was wrong. They were no longer in the village. There were no ruins, no archway, no temple, only a wheat field stretched around them, and a road. A bus drove by, an ordinary, modern vehicle. Ethan jumped up, waving frantically. The bus stopped. They climbed in, dazed and shaken. When they arrived at their hotel, the receptionist stood in stunned silence. Sir, ma'am, you vanished a month ago. You left the hotel on October 5th without checking out. When no one could reach you, we filed a missing persons report. Maya stared at her phone. The date showed October 5th, but the receptionist handed them that day's newspaper. November 7th. They had lost 33 days. No memory, no explanation. When they asked about Ravi, the receptionist looked confused. I don't know any Ravi. And Prakash, the driver who introduced them, denied everything. I never spoke of any such place. Must be someone else. They returned to Chicago. Doctors found no signs of trauma, no drugs in their system, no reason for memory loss. And yet, the nightmares began. Ethan would wake up sweating, whispering about the faceless figure. Maya kept hearing the humming in her dream. One morning, Ethan opened the front door to get the mail. Lying on the porch was a fresh garland of marigolds, bright, fragrant, just like the one in the temple. Tucked within was a note, written in familiar old Hindi script. Once you see, it sees you too. They moved to a new city, changed their numbers, avoided the internet. But sometimes, at night, the humming returns, and the dreams start again. Was Devlokh a hallucination, or a place that exists outside of time? A village that chooses who may leave, and what they bring back with them. If this tale chilled your spine, like and subscribe. And remember, some places aren't forgotten. They're waiting, here at Mystery Vault Studio.